But they said they had no plans.
They talked about it at one point, but it was not a popular idea. We can talk about why. But something that a lot of teachers do, you can set up something called a gallery. If you look up at the top there, two things to the left of forums, it says galleries. So teachers often will set up a project gallery and ask their students to make sure that all their projects are in the class gallery.
That's great.
So that's a way of keeping track.
Okay.
What I do, I have a Windows domain that I use in my classroom, in my lab. And when you set up Scratch, there you can go to the config file and you can put in the home directory address. So when the kids log in, as long as they log into their machine on the server, when they save the work, it'll save it in that Scratch folder in their particular home folder. So I know how the kids, where all the kids work.
Yeah, it saves on the computer.
No,
It creates.
in my case, it'll save on, I have a server. I have a domain server. When they save it, it'll save it to that domain server in their home account.
And so they can sit at any
They
computer.
can sit at any computer, do their work, go get their work off the home server.
Yeah, in my lab, it saves, it just creates a little file and documents called Scratch Projects,
Right.
and it puts it there, and then they can access the server, and they just have to drag and drop it into
But they have to use the same
the
machine.
server. Yours does it more automatically.
But you want your kids to share their project with the Scratch website anyway,
Yeah.
so that they can work on it at home.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
One thing that we were looking at today is, there's a competition now that's, do you remember the name of the site? It has just launched, it's launching on October 12th, and kids are asked to create a game. And, yeah, it's
STEMchallenge.org.
STEMchallenge.org, and it's just sort of a national game that President Obama is challenging kids to create a game, and they can use Scratch was one of the programs.
They can use any actually software they want.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Could you send a note about that to our group?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That was great. So I'm going to talk in a second about the online curriculum, but the curriculum that I developed has also been morphed into guided notes for the students to take notes on, and activity worksheets. Are people familiar with guided notes? So the PowerPoint has all of the information. The student's handout has everything except for the really key words. So then when a teacher is presenting the content in a PowerPoint, the students are taking notes of the important content in the blanks shown on their worksheet. Does that make sense? So that there's some minimal level of commitment, of attention that the student needs to pay. So in this column is the PowerPoint for the guided notes, and then the student notes, the handouts that they fill out during the lecture presentation, and then activity worksheets for hands-on activities on the computer. And so these are just directly extracted from the online curriculum that I'll show you. This is also in your handout. And Paul Bruno will be developing the rest of these for the rest of the semester, so he should have a semester's worth of junior high school curriculum that he's used at Edna Brewer. We'll see how far he gets in all the topics, right? So here's my website this is called Moodle. Moodle is an open source curriculum presentation tool. And so here is where you'll come if you want to look at it. This is example curriculum, Scratch curriculum for teachers to explore. So click on that. That's really just a curriculum for you to play around with and try. You'll come, when you click on it, it'll take you here, and you have the option of creating a new account or logging in as guest. Obviously, after you create an account, you'll just type your username and password there. But this is a server that I manage, so by creating an account, like the only person that has access to your email address is me, and I'm not going to spam you. So. If you log in as guest, the catch is that you can't see the quizzes. When you create an account, it's like you become a student. And only students can take the quizzes and try things out and get the experience like a real student would have. So as the guest, you'll actually have limited access to the curriculum. And I'm sorry, maybe I can make a, like, account that anyone can log in on, but I think it would be cool to see how many people create accounts, so. Here's what, once you log in, here's an example of one of the curriculum pages. So this is maybe not that interesting of a page, this is talking about how to save your project, but what you'll see is, here we're in the Scratch Junior High School curriculum, and the actual step that I'm doing right now is saving your project. If I want to go to the previous step or the next step, I click on those arrows at the top. I'm walking you through some of the user interface of this because it's not totally intuitive in my opinion. Another thing you can do is you can click on the jump to and select the option from a drop-down menu. But most of the time what the students will do is they'll come to the main curriculum page, which I'll show you in a second. They see a step, they do the step, they click on the next button. They do the step, they click on the next button. There are the navigation errors. I mentioned you wouldn't see all of the curriculum if you're logged in as guests, so if you try and see any of the mini quizzes, the embedded assessments, it'll say, sorry, guests cannot see your attempt quizzes, would you like to, yada, yada, yada. So if you're logged in as guest, or if you forget to log in sometime, you might see this and you need to log in.
So when they take the quizzes, say the student take the quiz, do we get to see the results, or how do?
It's like I fed you that question.
Oh.
So my next page is, this is what one of the quizzes looks like for the students. So here it's how many times does the Note 62 play when you click the script below. They're going to type their answer in here and they can click submit, and it'll show them a green check or a red X whether or not they got it right or wrong. And then you'll be able to click, so they get feedback, immediate feedback on their quiz results, and you can see statistics for the quiz. So it's a little bit funny because students can change their answer and then click again, and then they'll get like a 90%. And that's actually kind of what you want, is like, oh, they got it wrong, and they thought about it again, and they tried it again, and they got the right answer that time. But you can see the statistics there in results.
It's just for Bruno. Let's say a teacher here wants to teach this course.
I hope that's my next slide.
Okay.
No, okay. I have 2 more or 3 more slides before we get to that. But so here's the main page. Actually, when you log in, this is really what you see. So this is a day's worth of curriculum-ish. I think something that you're going to need to do is figure out, well, this was a day of curriculum for Colleen, but actually we have to walk to the computer lab, and then we have to yada, yada, yada. So figure out how many of these your students are going to get through. Yes. Here's a button that you will die without. It's the let me just see this day's worth of curriculum. So this whole thing is really, really long. Weeks of curriculum, this lets you see just one box. So if you're interested in using the online curriculum, first play with it, email me. So what we did for Ray and Barbara is they rented a server. It's about $90 a year. Is that the right price?
Yeah, something like that.
So it's about $90 a year. I can send you directions for how to rent that server, and then you're going to send me one login and password for that server, and then I'll set up the curriculum. So I'll take a copy of the curriculum and make it so that your site looks exactly like my site, send you the password back, and then you're off to the races. Okay? So still some cost, but
So in other words, to use the curriculum or to use Scratch, we have to pay $90?
Not to use Scratch.
not to
No,
use
not to
Scratch.
Scratch.
Scratch
To
is
use the
totally free.
curriculum.
If you want to use, yeah,
Use
use our
all the
curriculum,
quizzes.
do all the
So-
quizzes and tests,
If
get
you want to
grades
use
back and
the
stuff.
Moodle, it sounds like the curriculum's available.
Yeah, if you want to use the Moodle, and so for the Moodle, the benefits are that the students can submit their assignments online into Moodle. They can, you can track students' responses to those